on the left. So basically, the level builder has two halves, kind of, right? We can actually make this a little smaller if we want to. And so on the right, we got the visual area where we basically see what the level will look like. And on the left, we have an actual editor. And this is the ACE editor that I embedded in the editor, kind of editor inside of an editor. We also have a zoom, so we can make things bigger and smaller, undo, redo. And so these are the important parts where I can basically say that I want to draw a wall. So for instance, when I click here, we can see that actually the level over here jumps there. So I like Vim, so I'm going to use the Vim mode. So we can jump wherever you want, and the level will actually synchronize with that. Now, for instance, if I select a wall and put that in here, you can see that the level here, in the editor, was also updated. And so I can also kind of like draw, right? I can keep the mouse pressed and kind of draw like this, stuff like that. And you can see that the things over here update. And I can, with the mouse, select the cursor that I want to use. So now I can delete, but I can also use keyboard shortcuts. So for instance, a W gives me a wall, you can see. An E, so they're kind of like laid out like the keys, right? This is Q, W, E, R, and T. So I can also, for instance, if I want to draw a universe, I can press R, and I can draw a universe. And then let's just say I make a mistake, so then I can erase with E. And then here I need a wall, so I can press wall and wall. And so, and the thing is though that I can also do this inside the editor. So, for instance, what I can do is I can say, well, there are too many lines here. I just don't want to delete them. And then maybe I want to actually increase the size of this. And actually, like you can even, I'm going to IMAP JK to escape, because that's what I like to use instead of escape. So this actually also works. Now what I can do is I can build the walls out here. And since I don't want to repeat myself, I can just basically copy and paste that here, and now I get this, and now I can say, well, there's not enough space. And as you can see, if I go over here, the editor on the right actually moves with wherever my cursor is. So that's really useful, obviously. Now the power comes in if you're actually really kind of more skilled at using your editor. For instance, in Vim, I can have a macro. So let's say I wanted to do something like this, this, and then like this, and I want to kind of do this over and over, right? Obviously now I could have improved the visual editor to allow you to copy paste, but there's actually a better way to do that. So what I can do is I can say, or I can just undo what I just did. I can undo with you in the editor, or I can also undo up here. So now what I can do is I can say, well, I want to repeat what I'm doing multiple times. So what I can do is I can say, I'm going to start recording a macro. And then I'm basically going to say I will, and I'm going to record that into the register A. And then I will say I want to draw an equals, and I'll do replace so the things don't move around. And I'm going to draw another equals. And then I go down and I repeat. And so that would be my macro. And now I can do that 10 times. And boom, now I drew the wall really quickly. So that's really useful. And so I could, quickly iterate on levels like this. That's the entire idea of having an editor here, right? So the other thing that I can do is, and we may do that later, I can actually also edit this somewhere else. And so I can basically edit in another editor and copy and paste in here and then go from there. And what helps with that actually is this one up here. You might have seen that this URL actually keeps changing. And that's because the URL actually has the level encoded in it. So I just basically copied and pasted this URL and opened this in another tab. And the same level is here, right? Because this level is actually encoded inside this URL, which means that if you create a level with this tool, you can basically share that with other people, right? Which is, I think, pretty useful. That's pretty much as far as it goes for the level. I made it to where you can draw diagonals easier. What usually happens in paint programs or something like that, if you do this and then you try to go to the next tile down here, it actually picks up this tile. And I basically found a way to not do that. So it's kind of a little more strict about when it accepts that you're actually drawing into a tile. Obviously, if you go really fast, that means that it'll not draw. So you have to kind of draw like, you know, kind of more, a little slower. But that's pretty much, it improves, at least for the diagonal, it improves how I can hand draw that. And you probably find yourself doing that a lot. Now the walls are the walls, right? This one here, this black part, is going to be the universe, like the background, and this will just be drawn as a floor. And obviously, once there are more kind of things in the level, kind of pickups and so on, they'll be added here, right? And then here, this is a player. So if you want to position a player, so now the game will have 2 players, right? Because you get one here and one here. You can have 3 players, however many you want. But obviously, you don't want to have too many for the level, because otherwise people have to wait till it fills up. And that's pretty much it about showing off what the level editor does.